Welcome to LFC Transfer Hub. National media react as Liverpool back in reverse with embarrassing team. Second news is Liverpool substitutions show what Arne Slot is lacking as Joe Gomez blow raises transfer question. Liverpool reverted to the same old story of earlier, in the season when they saw their 13-game unbeaten run ended in a dramatic Premier League defeat at Bournemouth on Saturday evening. After Virgil van Dijk and Dominic Szoboszlai had drawn the Reds level having fallen behind to a quick brace from Evanilson and Alejandro Jimenez, they leaked another late winner when Amin Adli bundled in from a long throw after a succession of deflections and ricochets. It made for an ultimately tedious night, and while the Echo was in attendance and provided our usual level of coverage, here's how the national media viewed a negative result for Arne Slot's side. Virgil van Dijk complaining, Arne Slot with his arms crossed, Mohamed Salah looking up at the heavens in the rain, and scenes at the Vitality Stadium, he says. At the death with almost the last kick, Bournemouth had done it, and Liverpool's season was back in reverse again. It was some denouement, some picture, but no more than both sides and the game itself deserved. Liverpool were predictable, risk-averse, they defended erratically and squandered the momentum gained by a great result in Marseille in midweek, while Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth were Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth. Indefatigable, forthright and a thorn in the side. It was Liverpool's first defeat in 11 games and only Bournemouth's second victory against them in 16 games, but you wouldn't have known it. Ben Fisher of The Guardian praised the contribution of one Liverpool player in particular. Dominic Szoboszlai cannoned in a stunning free-kick to haul Arne Slot's side level from 2 goals down, he pens. Where would Liverpool be this season without the hungry midfielder? Slot clenched both fists and gave his assistant Giovanni van Bronckhorst a high 10, but it was Andoni Iraola, beaming from ear to ear, who departed the pitch high-fiving his staff, only a second win since October secured. Liverpool, this was another sobering experience. Virgil van Dijk made amends for presenting Bournemouth the lead and Milos Kerkez, who was exposed when Alex Jimenez doubled the host's lead and struggled on his return to the south coast, was hooked at the interval. On this evidence, Liverpool would be naive to allow Andy Robertson to depart for Tottenham. Mohamed Salah was anonymous, his greatest contribution backheeling the free-kick to Szoboszlai for his goal. Lewis Steele of the Daily Mail was back to calling Liverpool embarrassing and compared them to a team from another sport. Liverpool are the Premier League's answer to baseball, he opines. 1 minute, they are a joy to watch and look like a team ready to conquer the world and win trophies galore. The next, they are anything but, and their performance makes one think another root and branch inquest is necessary. The unacquainted to baseball sorry to hear that if so, it refers to the current rendition of the English men's cricket team and its brash style led by Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes. When it is good, it is really good. A thrill ride that sparks thoughts over just how far this team can go. When it is bad, it is really bad and downright depressing. The narrative around it seems to change almost every match, just like Arne Slot's Jekyll and Hyde Liverpool, who flit between the excellent and embarrassing match by match. Finally, the tall man Paul Gorst thawed himself out sufficiently to write in the Echo about the main flaw in this Liverpool team. When the great carve-up of Liverpool's season begins in May, when Arne Slot, his staff, and perhaps sporting director Richard Hughes, sit down to assess the good, the bad and the ugly of it all, it will be this soft underbelly that will go some way towards explaining how a title defence disintegrated so quickly, and why the champions were left with little but a dogfight for the 4th spot in the second half of the campaign, he scribbles. This is a Liverpool team who have demonstrated on more than a handful of occasions this season they don't handle setbacks well, and a chastening period between minutes 26 and 33 here cost them the game. It was a few minutes that they bafflingly attempted to navigate with just 10 men. It was the sort of game mismanagement you wouldn't expect at schoolboy level. Second news is Liverpool substitutions show what Arne Slot is lacking as Joe Gomez blow raises transfer question. When it comes to self-sabotage, Liverpool have offered a strong case they are market leaders this season. And a costly 7-minute spell during the first half here was the latest compelling evidence. It was bad enough that Virgil van Dijk's misjudgment of a long ball in the tricky conditions invited Bournemouth to open the scoring, but that Alisson Becker wiped out Joe Gomez in the process of attempting to keep out Evanilson's shot compounded the misery. Still, though, that wasn't enough from Liverpool, who, Gomez off the pitch receiving treatment shortly after the restart, then opted not to put the ball out and played almost 5 minutes with 10 men. A spell during which Bournemouth gained momentum and doubled their advantage before Wataru Endo was belatedly introduced into the heart of defence. For Gomez, it was a bitter blow on his first Premier League start at centre-back, since the hamstring injury suffered at West Ham United in December 2024, and it will increase calls for Liverpool to dip into the transfer market before next Monday's deadline and strengthen defensive resources that are now approaching breaking point. Substitutes no change. If there was one moment that will have alarmed Arne Slot more than most, It came just minutes after Dominik Szoboszlai had thumped them back on level terms. With Liverpool pressing forward in search of a winner, Bournemouth midfielder Alex Scott picked the ball up around the halfway line and started to make his way towards the visiting goal. He advanced a bit, then a bit further, and then a bit further. While hardly at full pelt, Scott continued to move away from any chasing Liverpool players as the makeshift visiting defence backed off sufficiently for him to play a ball through unchallenged to Evanilson, who then prodded a glorious chance wide. The pendulum of the game immediately swung back in Bournemouth's favour, and both the players and crowd sensed it. Liverpool's players looked exhausted, a point Slot readily admitted afterwards. While the exertions in Marseille didn't help, that so many have been used repeatedly in the last few months was apparent in the sudden drop in energy levels. Even the substitutes were affected as, unlike in midweek, the bench overall made little impact. Curtis Jones and Hugo Ekitike were too easily brushed off the ball, while only teenager Rio Nguema made any positive difference, notably when winning the foul for Szoboszlai's strike. This was the 7th of 9 games this month, and for a Liverpool squad lacking depth it showed. Blunt attacked 2 goals, 67% possession, a set-piece brace and 11 corners. Such statistics would at first glance make it appear Liverpool were a strong attacking threat here. This, though, was a game where, with the honourable exception of the hard-working Florian Wirtz, the Reds were disappointingly blunt from open play. Mohamed Salah posted a display that served as a reminder of why there wasn't too much dissent from supporters when benched earlier in the campaign, while Cody Gakpo flattered to deceive, and the midfield failed to make the most of some promising positions in a dominant opening quarter. But the need to manage the minutes of Hugo Ekitike and Jeremy Frimpong robbed Liverpool for significant spells of the valuable commodity of pace that proved fruitful in Marseille. Even the wildcard of Federico Chiesa was unavailable to Slot, with the Italian having succumbed to the problem that saw him limp out of the warm-up on Wednesday. Slot, though, will have to make do and mend with these options for the foreseeable, barring an unlikely swoop to bolster the attack over the next week.